welcome to this week's edition of Gaming News Weekly with your host, as always, me. I'm Rich, and my good friend and gaming padre, Tabs. Say hello, mate.
Mate.
So, as always, we have got 3, although I think possibly 4 stories this week to dive into to talk about the games industry, and then we'll also feature everything else, which is everything we couldn't squeeze in. But yeah, before we get into that, we will just like to have a little conversation about what we've been playing this week. So, I guess, what have you been playing this week, Tabs?
Same boring story, mate. More Elden Ring. The journey continues. We're decades of hours into it now. I don't know, I've got mixed feelings. Like, I suppose in some ways I feel like I'm getting ready to be done with it. But then at the same time, I've really enjoyed it so much, and there's nothing like discovering a new area in it, and the anticipation of all the goodies ahead of you, the rewards to further, customize your character, min-max your capabilities. So yeah, mixed feelings, but I'm moving house. So again, it's perhaps a really good point to tuck it away. Get that closure, because I've got so much stuff to do outside of the world of video games. I wish I could just live in that world 24/7, but life doesn't work that way, does it, mate? But
Absolutely does not, no.
Where are you on it?
Yeah, I'm sort of. I mean, we've basically got to a point in the game where I think it would be possible to initiate the role of whatever the final throws of the game would be, whether that's 10 more bosses or whatever comes after the point. I think we're at that point where we can roll that dice. But yeah, I'm sort of in the same. I like want to keep playing it, but I don't want to keep playing it, if that makes sense. Like I'm still enjoying it, although I feel like the longer you get into it, the more you worry about dying, and you know, and the enemies are getting harder, so it becomes more of a grind in some respects. But yeah, it's just such a fun game to play, so you don't want to put it down just because you've had so much fun and having so much fun playing it. So yeah, I think that's it really. I think we've got some more bits to mop up really, and then maybe we'll initiate that sort of ride.
But yeah, I mean, I think Game of the Year for me, mate. I'd be very surprised if something else comes out that has the same sort of impact and gives me the same highs that I've experienced with you.
Yeah.
Whilst playing it, so
well, mostly.
Yeah. If you can detect, BArcadians, some resentment from Rich today about some of the extracurricular hours I've put into Elden Ring. But you know, he's got to be fair. I've had COVID recently. I've been on holiday, although I was packing for my move. It's been as we call it, Rich, a difficult time, which usually means that I need to distract myself in video games. Free for all is the other terminology that was used earlier. Anyway, mate, we should take this offline.
Right, so let's get into the news. So, first up, we have got Dreamcast Classics Resurrected. And The Verge had this to say. Sega has reportedly started work on big budget reboots of 2 cult classics, Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio. According to a report from Bloomberg citing people familiar with its plans, the Japanese game giant wants to create new games that can become global hits like Fortnite and deliver recurring revenue. Oh dear. Fortnite, of course, has built its success on a number of attributes. It's cross-platform, free-to-play, and generates money for publisher Epic Games through the use of cosmetic microtransactions. Bloomberg doesn't state that Sega is following this mold exactly, but it's hard to know how you create a Fortnite-like hit without replicating Fortnite's key traits. Vague hints of Sega's plans in the department have been appearing for a while now. In the company's annual earnings reported for the year ending March 2021, it named Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi as examples of past IP it wanted to utilise through reboots, remasters and remakes. Other games names included Rez, Panzer Dragoon and Streets of Rage. The same report discussed an internal super game initiative which Sony execs Shuji Utsumi. Later explained would mean building multi-platform AAA titles with global releases. He also alluded vaguely to NFTs, but honestly, I think executives just say that this as to reflect right now. So yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, I'd love to see a reboot or a remaster of Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi, actually. Both brilliant games. Both we've had a lot of fun with together, actually. Both of us have played the games together quite a bit. So I'd love to see that. I think this whole microtransaction scenario is a little more worrying, and I'm sure Tabs is equally as worried as I am about that, because ultimately, I don't want to see a Fortnite-style Crazy Taxi. I want to see a fully fledged, sort of as the original arcade type game was. So I'm not sure how that would work and how you could then monetize that. It would almost have to be a completely different game. So yeah, excited for this, but there's a little bit of trepidation there, which seems to be how most interesting stories in the games industry sort of go nowadays. Tabs, what do you think?
Yeah, very much the same. I think, you hear some of the biggest classics of the Dreamcast era, and we were massive Dreamcast fans. Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, iconic games on that platform. It's like, yes! And then you hear, and we want to kind of follow the Fortnite formula, to cash in the bucks. And you're like, oh no. And you just worry, don't you? They're going to basically take this treasured IP, scoop the soul out of it, and then cram in all this monetization crap. And then what does it become? An absolute shell of what it was. But to try to look on the bright side, I suppose, when you look at Fortnite and you look at the way they kind of refresh this world that you play in, you could easily, that could work in both games. You've got a cityscape very much for the most part in both games.
Yeah,
that you're skating and grinding around and graffitiing around in Jet Set Radio, and that you're taking your fares around, that listening to Bad Religion and Offspring as you go. You could easily see how they could refresh cities, introduce new cities, make kind of events happen in those cityscapes. I don't quite know how you crowbar in Battle Royale, into those experiences and how that feels, because I think, and you kind of alluded to it, that the key thing is, if they've got a chance of not creating and bastardizing these treasured IPs, they have to retain the core kind of gameplay loop and feel of the originals.
Absolutely.
They can't just use the brand and completely, reinvent the wheel on them, so to speak, because it could just be really ugly. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's possible they could make something successful like that, but I just think the key thing is they have to feel like Crazy Taxi felt, like you said, that arcadey buzz. And Jet Set Radio was similar in some ways. It did have an arcadey sense, but almost with that, a bit of Tony Hawk's thrown into it, and it had some cool kind of story elements, and there was tension created with the what you had to do in that game. So yeah, I feel like I'm not totally opposed to it. I think they've got a chance of achieving success. But I don't know, is the track record here, Sega in recent years, you'd argue have been a bit hit and miss. So I'm still very much, concerned, should we say.
I think it's a wait and see type of news story. Like, lots of news stories that come out you can be super excited about. News articles like this, you think you would be super excited about, but it always has that little dirty edge to it that you're like, oh, okay, well, how's that going to play out? Are they going to ruin a game that, we hold in real high esteem? Or are they going to, take that game and make the modern day version of that, which is what we would want to see? So, yeah, interesting. I think watch that with bated breath, I think.
Like Jet Set Radio probably has a better chance in the sort of Fortnite formula than Crazy Taxi. I just can't understand, mate, how you would create that sort of experience. Surely all you can do is compete for fares.
Yeah.
What else? And I know they had the whole mini game sandbox in that as well, but how does that even? I mean, maybe you could go like a Fallout Guys route with the mini game sort of side of things. I don't know. Anyway, let's just hope they get it right.
Absolutely. Move us on.
Story number 2. Sony acquisition leads rumour mill. So this article comes from The Gamer. This is what they had to say. The rumour about PlayStation's next acquisition has created a whirlwind over the last few days. What started off as just a character being added to a banner turned into one of the most prominent video game directors stepping in to clarify matters. However, it seems that there's another twist in this rumour mill, and it comes courtesy of GamesBeat's Jeff Grubb, who's pretty much held up the news across the games industry this week. According to Grubb, the acquisition rumours were never about Kojima Productions in the first place. The addition of Sam Bridges to a collage of PlayStation Studios characters ignited rumours that KOJ-Pro, or Kojima Productions, was Sony's next acquisition target. However, Hideo Kojima himself put all rumours to rest by tweeting, "I'm sorry for the misunderstanding, but Kojima Productions has been and will continue to be an independent studio." However, on a recent episode of his podcast, spotted by a handle I'm not going to read out, Grubb said, if you've heard the rumours about a big acquisition from Sony, it was never Kojima Productions, at least not as far as I'm aware. People were hearing this stuff, including me. That was not a name that was thrown around. It was bigger than Kojima Productions. Oh, some mouthfuls in that one, mate. But I think, at least from other publications and influencers, I've seen a lot of stuff to suggest that this was, I suppose Konami, I think, has been thrown into the mix, but From Software as well has been a big one that's been spoken about, bigger than Kojima Productions. And obviously on the back of the success we've seen with Elden Ring, and we've kind of talked about it, haven't we? That they think From Software could be what's generating these rumours. So I suppose worth a little chat between us, mate. I mean, we've already said, haven't we, that I think it'd be a great score, wouldn't it, for Sony if they could get that IP on their books, and they literally could just churn out. I mean, I wouldn't want to see them do it, but they could literally just churn out like for like sequels to Elden Ring, and I think people would come in the masses and enjoy it thoroughly.
Yeah,
I'd certainly like to see them do more with the IP and the franchise. But yeah, I think it is a golden ticket, for them to purchase. But what are your thoughts, mate, on is it From Software? Would you like to see it? Is it a good thing? Because we can come back to it, but I can see how some people have said that it's not a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously From Software, we've found that they're very competent without having big backing from a big player in the industry. But having said that, it would be a bit of a scoop for Sony for me. They've produced what's probably going to be the game, certainly of this year. Potentially it's hard to know what's going to better that game, such as its like outstandingness. I don't know how you're going to better that. Certainly in the short term, maybe we've got to wait for Breath of the Wild 2. Maybe we've got to wait for Ragnarok even to better it. So it'll be very interesting. So I think in that sense, it makes complete sense that they would purchase them. I don't know. Would they want to be bought by Sony? I don't know. Sometimes these things don't. You're bought. It's like you're bought because they've put enough money up. It sort of forces the hand.
Hostile takeover. Sort of job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know on that. I mean, the Konami thing, I'd love them to have bought Konami because we know they're well in bed with Kojima Productions. I would love to see another MGS. So that's what I would hope it would be. But equally, the From Software thing would be an amazing scoop as well. But I mean, From Software's stock must have risen exponentially on the back of Elden Ring. So it almost seems like this was a poor time to buy them. They should have bought them before Elden Ring came out.
Yeah, definitely. You'd think they'd get a good price for it if they did force Sony's hand to buy. I think I would just point out, because I'm exactly in your camp, mate, as a Sony pony. I want Sony to secure that IP because I want to continue playing Elden Ring games and enjoying them. And it makes a lot of business sense. But I know from the guys at What Culture Gaming YouTube channel, they pointed out that it could be a really bad thing for Elden Ring and for From because, Sony's approach, and PlayStation Studios generally, there's a certain amount of homogenization that becomes evident, and they joked, every Sony PlayStation Studio game now, there's always a workbench. There's always something to craft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like a sort of design philosophy that actually starts to, what's the word, mate? And you see it, we've talked about Ubisoft, haven't we, in the past, and the way their games look, feel, they just become very in-house, and they have that signature, and that can sometimes perhaps put them in a box and not allow a creative independent like From Software to really do what they want with it. Or, like what we've seen with Kojima Productions, we've talked about them today. Death Stranding surely would never have happened had they not been an independent studio. You have to feel that a lot of that would have got condensed, consolidated, and contained, I suppose is the best word. So that's some people's fears, because I think that the spirit behind the From games, the Soulsborne games, whatever you want to call them, did come from this real kind of creative spark of playing with the rules, of not worrying if things seem weird and quirky. And we see a lot of that with the stories and the quest lines in it, don't we, mate?
Absolutely.
They're quite odd.
Yeah.
To say the least.
There's a character called Dung Eater. There's a prime example.
Yeah. And there's some insane... And it would be horrible to lose that. Now, don't get me wrong. Hopefully, Sony would be smart enough to be like, listen, we'll buy them, we're going to leave them to it.
Yeah.
And I think they've perhaps proven in the past when they bought studios that they're not too interfering, but it's a valid concern.
Absolutely.
But, mate,
and we're just going to have to wait and see what happens on that one. But yeah, should we move us on?
Yes, indeed, mate.
So, third story today is Need for Speed, and this comes from Eurogamer. Following recent claims, developer Criterion? Yeah.
Criterion, from Burnout, mate.
Yeah.
Nice,
Criterion's new Need for Speed game could be launched as soon as November. It's now being reported the racer will be set in a fictional version of Chicago and will combine a photorealistic art style with anime elements. That's according to VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb, as spotted by VGC, who discussed the long-awaited project in the latest episode of Grubb Snack's show. Elaborating on his claims, the new Need for Speed would be photorealistic, but it's going to have, on top of that, anime elements. Grubb explained, when you see a car commercial or something like that, and the car's driving around, but then cartoon flames and stuff are flying off it, that's the kind of aesthetic that they seem to be going for. Away from Need for Speed's new visual style, Grubb also claimed the racer will take place in a fictionalized version of Chicago known as Lake Shore City, and that the various familiar features would be returning for the latest Need for Speed installment. These are said to include Autolog and its multiplayer-focused social tools, plus the ability to customize all the pieces of your car. Very cool. I mean, if this is true and this is a credible source, you would like to think that this would be really cool. I'm not sure how photorealistic and cartoon anime like stuff
sounds weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. That just seems odd.
I was interested because you're obviously a massive racing fan, but you really do lean towards sim racing most of the time. Mm-hmm. But then again, you have a love for cel-shaded sort of graphical styles.
Yeah.
So it's kind of combining elements, and like you say, if it looks almost photorealistic, and then you've got this kind of cel-shaded sort of particle effect coming out the back, it's going to look strange, but maybe it'll work.
And how do they explain that? That would be odd, that some of it looks gorgeous, but then some of it looks odd. It's almost like you would have to say, they're... I don't know. It's odd. I don't know how you...
You've got some Who Framed Roger Rabbit sort of...
Exactly, yeah. I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I've played quite a few Need for Speed games, enjoyed them for the most part. Some of them are a bit not my cup of tea, but yeah, really enjoyed it. So yeah, we'll see what happens on that. Hopefully it's reviewed well. Go on, Tabs.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of the Burnout series. I was never really into Need for Speed like you were. But Burnout I loved, and obviously it's Criterion, and they've got that history with Burnout. So I'm really hopeful that they've actually got a good team behind it. And I've missed Burnout, to be honest, mate. I remember I can't remember the version. Was it on the PS2? Played that to death. And then there was a PSP version, Legends, that I played and really enjoyed. So, yeah, I'd kind of be ready for this. An arcade kind of racer with loads of destruction. That's what I hope they really double down on.
Yeah, absolutely. Those were one of the funnest bits, weren't they? Where it was like, right, you've got to try and total this amount of damage.
Yeah, I love that in the Burnout games. There was that mode, wasn't there, where you do this slow-mo and you kind of like get some sort of control over the car. And
and then just try and smash up as much as possible. But yeah, so we'll keep an eye out for that. What do you reckon? Everything else, Tubbs?
Yeah, so part of that, we were going to flesh this last story out, but it was just to say that Amy Hennig has had some retribution. As we know, she got kicked off a Star Wars game in the past. Well, you know, it's recently been announced that Hennig and Skydance, her studio, are developing a brand new Star Wars game. So that's great. Next up, mate.
So Skate 4 leak reveals 30 seconds of pre-alpha footage. Very interesting. I haven't seen it myself. I need to go and check it out.
Yeah, I have it. It looks rough, but it does look like they're really trying to get that. Because Skate was very like physics-based, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And it does look like they're getting that in there, so that's positive.
Cool.
Elden Ring's mysterious 50-hit walls were a glitch after all, much to Rich's chagrin.
Good news. Naughty Dog hints that it's hiring for new Uncharted games. Very interesting, because we thought that was sort of it for Uncharted, so I'm very excited for that to be the case.
And then rumoured The Last of Us remake studio is working on a banger of a game, according to one employee. So,
and to go along with that, didn't you say that you'd seen some? There's been some adverts for new employees as well.
Yeah, but I think that might have been to do with the Uncharted rumours.
Okay. Okay.
But cool. We love to hear that stuff because they're both franchises we adore. So
absolutely, crossed. And we know how good Naughty Dog are at making games. So. Right, that is it for this week's news. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, get down below and subscribe, join the channel. And if you have enjoyed it, drop it a like. It really helps feed into the algorithms and get more people seeing our tiny little news show every Friday at 5 p.m. But I think that's all we've got time for this week. Another one for the archive.
Damson completed.